What's up, MMA nerds? Derek Brunson versus Juan Carneiro Jucao is the co-main event UFC Fight Night 83, hashtag UFC Pittsburgh, takes place February 21st, 2016. It's a Sunday. As always, we're going to go over some facts and figures, then I'll give you my pick toward the end of the video. First of all, Derek Brunson is 14-3, Jucao is 20-9. Brunson is 5.5 years younger, and according to FightMetric.com or Fightnomics, where I get all of the stats from, Brunson is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage that differs on UFC.com, where Brunson is only going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. Nonetheless, I think that Brunson is going to have a size advantage because Jucao has fought at welterweight in the past. Brunson is kind of a sizable middleweight. Brunson lands more strikes per minute, but he also absorbs more strikes per minute, and I think that that is because Jucao's fights normally take place on the mat. Brunson has had fights that took place on the mat, but he also has had a few stand-up wars as well. Brunson comes into this fight on a 3-fight winning streak, and Jucao on a 6-fight win streak. Let's go over these guys' styles a little bit before I get into the pick here. Jucao is a 3rd-degree black belt, and obviously he is going to be the jiu-jitsu guy. This is kind of a striker versus grappler, you might think, but no. We'll talk about Brunson and why that's not true here in a second. Jucao has won 8 fights by decision, 10 by submission, 2 by KO or TKO. Now the 8 by decision, that's a little bit skewed because he has taken part in 2, count them 2, one-night MMA tournaments in the welterweight division. So if he can make the weight for that, you know, that's another thing why he's a little bit smaller. Really, all I can talk about are a couple of fights from Jucao. He likes to fight on the mat and preferably in top position against Mark Munoz. Mark was a pretty decorated wrestler himself. He shot in for a takedown. Jucao showed a pretty good sprawl, ended up taking his back. And that's where Jucao really does a lot of damage, on the back. And he doesn't... The back isn't given up to him. He takes that darn thing. Once he gets there, he's going to be looking for a rear naked choke, and if that doesn't work, he will transition into an armbar. He's got some decent strikes to set up some takedowns, but not the best. Now, Derek Brunson, 3-time Division II All-American wrestler. He was also a collegiate cheerleader, so that's pretty interesting. His last fight against Smilin' Sam Alvey, he blitzed him early, put a shit ton of punches on Smilin's face. Smilin wasn't happy after that. Thought it was an early stoppage. I thought it was pretty good. Derek Brunson got the TKO, overwhelming him with a shit ton of strikes. Before that, he did the same thing to Ed Herman. Before that, he beat Lorenz the Monsoon Larkin. Now, that was Larkin's last fight at middleweight before dropping to welterweight, where he's been pretty successful, 2-1. But anyway, Derek Brunson, in that fight against the Monsoon, he basically took him down and grinded him out for the most part. The Monsoon showed a little bit of solid takedown defense, but Brunson was able to get him down. Let's move back one more fight to Yoel Soldier of God Romero, where in that fight, actually Derek Brunson took down Yoel 3 times, and Yoel didn't take him down at all. So going into the 3rd round, a lot of people thought that Derek Brunson was winning, but then Yoel put a huge right hand on Brunson and broke his fucking jaw. So there's that. But taking down an Olympic silver medalist like Yoel Soldier of God Romero, that's pretty awesome. And in fact, a lot of people, myself included, think that Derek Brunson's best performance is that loss to Yoel Soldier of God Romero. He's been fighting pretty high level of competition, where Rowan Jucao Carneiro hasn't been fighting the top tier of competition. Now, Mark Munoz used to be top tier, but he has since retired. And at the time, I didn't think that he should have been fighting against Jucao because his doctors advised him never to fight again because he had some kind of knee injury. Of course, he bounced back to retire on top against Luke Barnett, but nonetheless, Jucao hasn't been fighting the top tier level of competition. So here comes the pick a little bit. The way I think this fight is going to go, Jucao needs to get this fight to the mat, but Derek Brunson he's a great wrestler. He has solid takedown defense. He also has some great takedown offense. Perhaps Brunson could take down Jucao and kind of try to grind him out, but I don't think that would be the smartest thing. We haven't seen too much of Jucao off of his back, but if you just try to lay and prey on Jucao, I think that he would be able to throw up a triangle choke on the mirror model Derek Brunson. So I don't think that would be a smart route for Derek Brunson to take. I think that Brunson is going to keep this thing standing. I think that he's going to get a TKO stoppage on Jucal, possibly later in this fight. I don't think that much of the fight takes place on the ground, as I mentioned. If it does, though, you absolutely have to give the edge to Joan Jucal Carneiro. So my pick on UFC Pick'em is Derek Brunson, KO or TKO in round number 3. But Jucal is a pretty hefty underdog. Last time I looked at it, Brunson was like minus 400, come back on Jucal plus 285-ish, something like that. If you think that Jucal could finish this thing with a submission, then I don't fault you at all for putting a shot on him. I don't see it going that way, though. Once again, final pick, Derek Brunson, KO, TKO, round number 3. Tell me who are you picking in the comment section down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Really appreciate it, guys. Also, subscribe to the channel for more great UFC MMA content. Also, if you like metal/rock reviews, check that out as well. Thanks again for listening, guys. Namaste.